recapping another busy week of prep sports. It's High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Spending your Saturday with us on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. And Larry Kinglaw, we thank you on this 10th day of August. Matt Hatfield here with you. The coach, Ed Young, on assignment today. Thomas Simmons, other side of the glass. And privileged to be joined by another special guest. He is the head football coach of the Atlantic Shores Christian Seahawks, who I believe open up the 2019 campaign in 13 days at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex against Isle of Wight Academy. We say hello to our pal, Coach Wayne Lance. How's the summer going, Coach? The family keeping you busy?
Oh, you know it. All the time, 24/7.
24/7. Well, before we dig into this year's team, I understand Thomas was telling me here that you used to do what we did. You used to have to call Grant Hill, I guess, for interviews and stuff. Tell me about this.
My internship in college was at a radio station in Lynchburg. I had actually Bob Sturm, who's now in Dallas, because I see him on the NFL top 10 every once in a while. He was the host of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So my internship was to be one of the guys in the back taking the calls. So we've had guys call in. I answer the phone. Who's this? This is Grant Hill calling in. I used to, hello, Mr. Hill. Good to hear from you. Hold on, we'll get you on. He's like, how's the weather? You know, we had a 5-minute conversation. Everybody's banging on the glass. I'm like, he's talking. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Did you save Grant Hill's number for us, or did you get rid of it?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. We'll hold to that. I'll buy you a sandwich. You can pull that one off for us, Coach. But you also, for those that don't know, and I love the NFL top 10s. You're right in my wheelhouse. I love the America's Game, the top 10s. That's must-see weekend viewing for me as I try to, I guess, as the kids say, chill out, but, get work done in the house, but also, have some leisure time. You coached Rashad Jennings as well. Is that right?
Yeah, he was one of my guys at what's now Liberty Christian Academy. So I've had three guys play professionally, 2 in the NFL. One was Brad Butler, who played at EC Glass when I was the defensive coordinator. He was one of my D linemen. He was offensive lineman, I believe, 6 years with the Bills. Played at UVA, and then Rashad. So, yeah, I've been pretty fortunate in my 24 years to have coached some guys who've gone on, and probably had about another 170 go on and play college ball. So it's been a good run.
That's awesome, and you've certainly touched a lot of lives, both through the game of football and outside of the game of football. And I know you're tight with Rashad. I've seen some pictures every now and then on social media. I want to know that he gets you tickets to Dancing with the Stars, though. Did you get a chance to see that?
I was on it.
Where are you?
They came here and did a little segment. It's hilarious when you see the TV side because, we set it all up. Here's what we want to know. Give us some backstory. Told them some great stories. Rashad used to babysit my kids.
Oh, wow.
So my favorite story is him. I come in the door. I hear my son, who's now a senior, screaming. I thought, oh, no, it's bloody murder. Here we go. We got problems. I walk in. My daughter is 16 now. She's in the bassinet, fed, changed, and asleep. And then Shad's laying on the floor, and Jaden's like doing Jimmy Superfly Snook off the couch. And they're having a blast. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, you look worried. Is everything okay? I'm like, I'm great. You're great. We're good. But that initial shriek when you walk in the door is pretty funny. But, yeah, they came in. They set it all up, and we did 2 hours of interviews, and I think they used a total of 7 seconds. So it's good times.
That's how it works, though, but always the memories there. We're talking with Wayne Lance, head football coach of Atlantic Shores, our guest here on ESPN Radio 94.1. It's High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. And is that correct? Your opener is against Isle of Wight on the 23rd?
Yes, sir.
At the Sportsplex. So go out there, all you football fans, Atlantic Shores fans, go root on the Seahawks in that matchup. And, Coach, let's talk about some of the guys to watch out for this year, beginning on the offensive side of the ball. Who are some of the names we should know?
Chase Larman is our quarterback. This is his third year at the quarterback spot for us. Done a great job. Had a few injuries last year, but he's well past those. And so looking forward to doing a lot. We threw the ball quite a bit last year, 365 times. So we can sling it, and we get after it that way. So, and got a few of our receivers back. Jaden Lance, Shaquan Boyd, probably the 2 biggest returners we have from last year with catches. Jaden had 52 last year, and actually is our school's all-time leading receiver in total catches in a career. I think his goal is to try to hit the yardage mark this year, but we'll see how that goes and how the season goes and how healthy we stay. Shea plays some defense for us as well, but we can move him around a couple different places to get him the ball. So he's a pretty talented athlete, has offers, UVA-wise, Virginia University of Lynchburg. So looking forward to what he can do. Running back, Amir Ali, he will be a sophomore. He played quite a bit for us last year. So those guys will carry a lot of it up front for us. We've got a few other talented kids in the mix, and our offensive line, we got 6 guys who started games for us. So hopefully that'll continue to solidify and give us some looks up front.
Yeah, it's always where the game starts, and you are a fun brand of football to watch, having watched a few of your games in past years, even called one for television, and you mentioned your quarterback there in Chase Larman, and you have Shaquan Boyd who's gotten offers, and then that name, Jaden Lance, I'm going to guess he's kin to you, right?
Yeah, he's somehow related to me. So.
Okay. Good deal.
Poor kid.
What's it like
the good genes.
He's got the good genes, you said?
Yeah, he's got the fast genes and the good genes, so he's all right.
What's it like, though, coaching your son? I imagine it's got to be a joy for you and your whole family.
It is. It's a little different. I think as a parent, I've always I'm not going to show any favor. I probably go more the opposite of making sure he works doubly as hard as everybody else, so there's never a perception that there's any wrongdoing. And on the other side of it, when you're around the game, like I have a 6th grader, he's my shadow, and that's one of the things, you're around it all the time. And Jaden can kick, long snap, do all the other things because he sat on the sideline when he had nothing else to do, and a football was his babysitter at practice some days. So you kind of pick up a lot of different things and watch a lot of guys. I think that's the one thing for Jaden he always mentions to the guys is, I got to play with Breon Britt. I've gotten to suit up with Kelvin Watts and Ryan Chamberlain and all those names. And so for him, he feels the added pressure of not only playing for your dad, but representing the guys who he got to watch play from the sideline as an 8th grader and do those things. So it's unique.
Well, and oftentimes those coaches' sons, whether it be in football, basketball, baseball, you name the sport, they often have that little bit of insight to how the games go, so they make the smart, heady plays, if you will. We're chatting with Wayne Lance, head football coach of Atlantic Shores. They open up the season August the 23rd at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex against Isle of Wight Academy. It's ESPN Radio 94.1. And, Coach, defensively, it's something we brought up with all the coaches, be it public school, private school. Depth is certainly the challenge. I imagine that's the case for you guys. But some names to know on defense for you.
Austin Ganther would probably be the first one. Austin had 132 tackles for us last year, playing a linebacker position, does a great job. He's probably the strongest kid we have on our team. He's one of those bench 350 guys and squats 5+ and cleans 260. So he lives in there, and he runs a 4.5. So that's a good combination to have in him. Sean Carroll is another guy defensively who's been starting for us for a couple years. Those two really get it done inside for us and make sure everybody's in the right places. Defensive line guys, there's probably a mix of 6 guys who should get some playing time, from Pierce Billups, Jaden Lance, Bronson Waldemar. Those guys kind of all flip in and out because we run some multiple fronts, so kind of got some personnel groupings to keep us fresh. Zeb House has been a 3-year starter for us. So that group up inside really can get a lot done. On the back end, Shea Boyd again, Amir Ali, and then we have a young guy in Jalen Smith who's been getting some time with us in preseason camp, and looks like he'll come and make some plays along with Matthew Hall. So good group of guys. I mean, there's a lot of veterans who've played, and even in the years when we were making a run at the state playoffs and things like that a couple of years ago, they were getting some time, whether it was on special teams and other parts. And then they've been at it for a while and kind of working their way to respect.
Well, that's my last question. I appreciate your time. I'm sure we'll get you back on here during the season and throughout the fall. Coach, I want to know, you mentioned state playoffs. Does this team have the makeup to get there? Give me kind of a breakdown of your schedule and of the teams you'd have to go through and kind of the private school scene, be it locally and statewide this year.
Wow. There's a lot of good teams. And it's one of those things where landscapes change from year to year, because in private school you have some kids who leave public and come private, and some guys who go the opposite, and we've seen that with a couple other schools locally as well. So it really can change. For the most part, up to this point, I know what everybody had last year, and you're just kind of waiting to see through these scrimmages, like, who has what. And so traditionally, we open with Isle of Wight, followed by Hargrave and Norfolk Christian. So for us, that's the big 3 right off the bat. And then later on in our schedule, we go on a run, and I told our guys this, we play the last 5 state champions in 4 weeks. We'll play NSA, Christchurch, Blue Ridge, and Fredericksburg Christian on a run there. I don't know who made that schedule, but from the end of September through the first 3 weeks in October, that's who we have. And so, coming off some championships, those are the guys. That's where I don't look ahead, but I see that's kind of the tested group. And then one team that we're not playing this year that we have played in the past, and it just didn't work in our schedule, was North Cross. And so they have a couple starred athletes that should be pretty talented. So I really look at NSA. Coach Beal does an excellent job with his group. Norfolk Christian is always talented. And then North Cross down on the other end. And the boarding schools, you never know what you're going to get. It's a box of chocolates. That's pretty much how we look at it. The old Forrest Gump line.
Yeah.
And, outside of that, it'd be interesting on the Division III level for the most part. Roanoke Catholic's been running away with it for years, so it'll be interesting to see what other team in Division III, and those are the smaller schools, under 100 male enrollment, see what they can actually accomplish and get done to be able to step up and test Roanoke Catholic. And up in the top division, that's going to be an interesting one now. You've got Bishop Sullivan back in playing. You have Flint Hill, who's won a state title, a couple others, but those Norfolk Academy has been solid. And so sometimes you'll see some different things. And there's a couple big schools that don't participate in our playoff system because of their own scheduling. I believe Woodbury, Forest, and Episcopal are huge schools, but they have what they call the game, and it's actually in our playoff week. So they just go ahead and play their game because it's the ultimate game for them. Mm-hmm. So that kind of always throws me off when I look. I'm like, oh, Woodbury's awesome. And then you realize that they might not be able to play in those playoffs. So, yeah, it's always interesting to see. And then St. Chris is another team that's outstanding. So, yeah, it's always kind of a wait and see. You get through the first 3 weeks in September and you start to figure out who the really good teams are and who lost a piece, or maybe an injury took place in preseason, and all of a sudden it can drastically change the landscape.
Well, I think all coaches talk about, can we stay healthy? But looking at your schedule, that's going to be really a key as you get to November, to be healthy come playoff time.
Yeah. We got 11. Didn't take the bye week. Our guys hate bye weeks. They're like, we play 11, coach? And I'm willing to do it just because I'd rather be playing than sitting. And so it's good experience. Keeps us kind of moving and grooving instead of sitting around a week and licking our wounds if we come off a loss. So that's what we do. We got 11 in a row, and we'll see if we can get in.
Well, understood. Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time today. We wish you all the best this year and beyond, and I'm sure we'll be talking with you soon, all right?
Yeah, no problem. Love your show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you coming on. That's Wayne Lance, head football coach of Atlantic Shores, with us here on ESPN Radio 94.1. Seahawks open up the 2019 campaign Friday, August the 23rd against Isle of Wight Academy at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. And that will do it for this edition of High School Sports Talk.